Welcome to The Sex Matters. I'm Dr. Twee.
And I'm Jenna Stewart.
In today's episode, we're exploring the intersection of religion, sexuality, and the divine in our everyday lives.
We'll hear a powerful story of healing and forgiveness from a divorced couple and discuss how to honor both our spiritual beliefs and our sexual desires.
Join us as we delve into these deeply personal and transformative topics. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
It's great to see everybody. So today's topic is on religion and sexuality. This is really important because oftentimes sexuality is paired with something negative. I think it'd be great if you shared a bit more of what you experienced. What are some of the things that come up when people are exploring their sexuality that feel really negative?
I think parental programming, sort of the legacy of, what's passed through generations in religion, certain morals that are passed. Sex is a bad word for many households. Kids tend to, if parents didn't have that expression, which, we've only come into a really expressive youth, right, recently. So many past generations have been so locked into what their parents' beliefs were, which then was their grandparents, which then you can see like it gets passed through. And in a sense, kids' curiosity, because they don't have any self-expression, they don't have that way of discovering, because their parents have made it very, or religion for them has made it very, hush hush. The curiosity is heightened, and therefore then it becomes, I'm doing something very bad, because they want to know, we all want to know, we all want to be self-expressive. But religion then tells a different story. And I won't say it's bad or good, it's just, it tells a different story. It has its sort of, bubble around the individual and their beliefs.
There's something really important about talking about religion, sexuality, and the concept of the divine in our everyday lives. The way we integrate divinity into our lives as an everyday act. I want to take a moment and introduce you to a couple that is going to come in and share their story with us. Aspects of their story is really focused on sexuality and religion, how they grew up, and how they created a household under those kinds of religious beliefs. And why I think this particular couple is so significant is they were very religious, and so the idea of divorce is oftentimes forbidden and prohibited. You hear about divorces and you have a lot of connotations, but I do think that there's something about their devotion to each other, and especially to their children, but to their way of being, the way that they want to be with each other and their family is nothing short of divine. Let's get started. Hi. I can tell that you're really nervous. I can tell that you have some tension in your body. Will you just check in and let me know how you're doing?
Tension's a good description.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be right.
We were going to talk about a very important event that happened in your life. Do you feel that you can kind of recall that moment? What do you feel like would allow you to get into that deeper feeling state?
I can describe it like it was yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know if in describing it, it brings out the feelings, because I've kind of grown numb to it over the years. But I trust that you'll get me talking.
Why do you feel that you want to share this story? It impacted you in such a significant way. What feels important for you to share about this?
maybe it's more selfish than anything. Maybe in talking about it here, it will help me. But maybe in my talking about it, it'll bring something up for someone else too. And they might not hold on to something as long as I have.
And I would reframe that by saying that if you were here for something for you, that is our privilege. It is something that we um, are honored to hear, and that you would share it with us is deeply, deeply meaningful. So I hope that is something for you more than I hope that it's something for anyone else. The reason that I think this story is so significant is I think that people have seen images of things that have stayed seared in their minds that are hard to get out once you see them. And when an image stays in our mind, if not processed, they can stay in our minds for years and affect us in so many deep ways. I guess for me, what I would hope is you sharing your story today would allow us to share that burden and potentially let you know that that happened to you, right? Sometimes when these things happen, it's as if they happen in a vacuum and they're secret or they're shameful and they don't get talked about. I want you to honor what it felt like that it was a violation for you.
Yeah, I think and going backwards a little bit is that I have told myself for years it wasn't that bad. And so it's way worse for other people. And it really wasn't that big of a deal, but it was. And so to set the stage for it, I was playing softball. The game ended. My mom hadn't come to pick me up. There were no cell phones at the time, and the chaperone asked if she should wait, and I felt guilty about having her wait because she had her own kids in the car, and I told her she could go, which would have been fine if it was a local softball field where there were people around, but it was at the end of a dirt road by a junkyard and an old field, and it was getting dark. I'll never forget, the sun was going down, and I am 12, and I'm trundling up this road, and this old car drives by and slows and goes past me, and then he comes back and he pulls up, and it was a dark colored car, and it's a guy in there, and he asked me for directions to the freeway, and I'm 12, and I don't know where the freeway is barely, but I was taught to be polite. I was taught to respect adults, and I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't really see him. So I went up to the car window and leaned in to hear, and he was masturbating, and I had never seen a naked man before. We grew up in a religious household where people didn't run around naked, and I'd never even seen my dad naked. So my first exposure to a man was this person, this pervert in this car, masturbating in front of a 12-year-old girl and asking for directions, and then asking if I wanted to go with him, and being strong enough to say no, no, thank you. I was even polite in telling him to leave me alone. And fortunately, he finished his business, and I waited for him to leave, and he left, and I kept walking, and my mom finally came to pick me up, and I told her what happened, and she kind of said, okay, and that was it. She never apologized until I told her about it again about 4 months ago and asked why she'd never apologized and why she had never done anything about it. And she said she was sorry. Your point about unseeing something,
Yeah.
I can't unsee that. And I don't think I wanted to see it. Maybe it's still reasons why I can't probably use the proper terminology, and why it was gross.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be like that.
hmm How do you think it affected your sexual development?
It was not something I was seeking out. I was very protected. In my household, your sex was something you had after marriage, and that was the end of the sex talk. So that combined with a visual that was frightening
Yeah.
it was frightening. I mean, it was big, it was discolored, it was doing things I'd never seen before. It just was awful. I mean, it was decades ago, and I can still see him in his car.
When you're 12 years old, the first thing that would happen in that moment is pure shock. It's as if you saw something completely foreign, and you don't have the wit and presence and ability to react to it in the moment because it's so shocking. Sometimes in that moment, we stay a little bit stuck in that space, and the image stays present in our minds, but the feelings are still there. And I would like to know if there's something that you would have wanted to say if he had asked you whatever it is that he had asked you, what you actually would have wanted to say. Imagine that there's someone here next to me. And imagine you just were being polite, sweet you, just wanting to do what you've been told to do, right? If adults say something to you, you listen. You lean your head in and you're being courteous and thoughtful. And then you see this experience that shocks you for decades. And that's not what you signed up for on that day. That's not what you expected. That's not even what you deserved. It was something that took something from you that you felt was innocent or beautiful, or you didn't get to discover that. It was just presented as a boundary violation. So if you imagine this person sitting across from you, what would you have said to them?
How dare you? Go away. Get out of here. Put it away. Leave me alone. Why? Why? I don't understand. Why? Get out.
And which one feels like the thing you'd want to say most?
Telling him to leave doesn't really actually do the thing because I wish he'd never shown up.
I know.
It's more like you're a horrible human. Why are you doing this to me? Go away. I don't want you here. I didn't ask you to be here. I don't know.
So I want to see, could you do it without editing your feelings? If you're imagining this precious little 12-year-old, and you and I walked in and we were witnessing this moment, as protective as we would be, we would have something to say to this guy. You and I walk in there and we see this little 12-year-old and this car and this man, and this is happening. What would you be saying now?
We've been taught to be calm and to handle issues calmly.
I know.
I'd tell him to get the fuck out. Like, I would probably want to punch him in the face.
Great.
I would,
Get the fuck out.
yes. I would have ripped him out of the car and I would have just pummeled him. I wanted to chop that thing off that he was playing with, and yeah, yes. Get out. Go away. Get the fuck out of here. Leave her alone.
Perfect. How are you feeling in the moment?
That I wish I could say say it the way you did.
You could, if you're ready, if you wanted to. You don't have to in this moment. I said it that way because I wanted to reflect how you actually wanted to say it.
I almost think I don't have to, because now I get to hear you. You're, you, you did it for me.
You know, maybe that's really what you needed in some ways, is knowing that someone would protect you.
Because my mom didn't do it.
Right.
She didn't even want to hear about it.
And that's what we would have done. We would have walked over and we would have said exactly that. And we would absolutely have listened and tended to you and cared for you and loved you and taken care of you any way you needed, because you didn't ask for that. And it wasn't your fault.
It was a double awful because of what I saw, and then feeling my mom wanted to protect her reputation over my soul.
Yeah. I really love being able to do that for you. I would do that for you over and over. And I also want you to be able to do that for yourself whenever needed. Is there anything else you want to share today?
Similar things happened 3 other times in my life, and I was never able to scream. 3 different other men, never as bad, but touching when they weren't supposed to, and I couldn't scream.
Is that something you want to do in the moment, or is that something you want to do in the future?
I think I will let the next guy have it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here, sharing your story.
Thank you for screaming on my behalf.
Anytime. You both are feeling so much right now. I want to start there.
I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed by the emotion, how unfair it all was, wanting to change it, but you can't, and knowing that betrayal on multiple levels, really, when anybody that you love does that to you, it's unfair. It's done to a child, it's totally unfair.
Yeah. I think it's a great place to start because what you're feeling is protective. Let's take a moment and just talk about specifically what you're feeling protective about and let her know. I want you to talk to her because this is the beautifulness, the vulnerability, this feeling that wasn't present in your relationship, that has only been allowed now after the relationship's over. And so don't hold back. So I want you to turn and look at her and just tell her what you're feeling.
I'm really regretting that there's nobody in your life to care of you the way you were supposed to be taken care of, and that you had to carry that alone.
I'm going to deepen this for you, okay? I want you to say that you didn't take care of her the way you should have. That's really what you're talking about.
Really sorry. I couldn't take care of you the way you deserved. You deserve better. And I want you to know how special you are. And that I want to change what's going on between us. I just want the best for you. I want you to know you can count on me.
What's making you so emotional in the moment?
I could never say this to her before. I had a sense now how lonely it would have been to live with me and not feel supported, and to have to live with all my anger and all my denials that I wasn't angry. And it was a lie I was telling myself. I regret all the time that I wasted when we could have been this close. I want you to know who I was in the past. It's who I am now.
What does it feel to hear that from him?
Unbelievable. Not that I don't believe him, but that it's everything he said was true. And to have him acknowledge it and have so much feelings around it and to have changed so much. I can still remember the times where I'd say, there's something bothering you, and you'd say, no, right? And to sit here right now and to have you feeling like those were moments that you wish you could have done differently, and I wish we could have done differently. It's a bit hard to process in the moment.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it's something that you've really wanted from him. And it's okay to want an apology, recognition. It hurt, made you angry.
I felt like the horrible person, and I have always thought I could understand people, and I knew he was angry, but he would just kept saying, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." And I thought it was me. I thought it was, again, all alone in it. So I think in the moment it feels like we're actually sharing something on the same level, on the same playing field, that we have the same definitions for the things that eluded us for so many years.
Knowing that the lie that I told about my anger, because I was feeling overwhelmed by it, didn't know how to protect you with it or to protect our family or myself. That anger was bad. And if I could deny it, then I'd avoid it. Just avoid the issue at all costs. And I didn't understand how deeply that wounded you. And I think I willfully ignored how much pain it was causing you. Looking at it now, it feels abusive that I did that. And that's really where this regret is coming from.
Any other feelings about it?
Having you put your hand on me, being here with me, made me feel closer to you than in all of the time that we've known each other, all the time we were married. This is the top moment.
Anything you want to share about that?
I don't feel anger. I know that I forgave him. I think kind of that anger of the past left me. And so right now I'm just feeling happy for you, because it must feel like a relief, like an understanding. I don't know.
It feels like a burden that's been removed.
Yeah.
I've been carrying around a weight I didn't even know, especially understanding how it affects the people that I truly love, care about.
You both came in thinking that you were going to talk about religion and sexuality. And actually, what you're showing us is a moment of divinity. What you're showing is the beauty of what it's actually like when we get to experience something this special. It's not always associated with religion, the divine, but this is that kind of moment. It's real, it's honest, it's coming from some source in you that you don't have to think about, a higher self, a greater being, but it's very real and it's very moving. And this was absent, I think, when you were both together.
Yeah.
And so, one of the most beautiful questions to understand and ask is, how did you do it after a divorce and years of being together? It's like unheard of in many ways. And here you both are, really laid bare, so vulnerable. I don't know when I've seen you both cry together. I know for me, it's like witnessing something really special. And how did you do that? How were you able to have this relationship now?
I think a large part of it for me was having a compass that said I cared about you and I was hurt when we decided to divorce. But in the end, you're still you. And I've always cared about you. And I knew you always cared about me. For me, that was the most honest thing that we could do, was to say that we don't love each other in the way that we can stay married. And it's better for us. And I didn't want to hear it for a long time. And I think when we made the decision, it was no matter what, you're still you. I can't think of you any other way than the person I care about the most. And we can't be married. But I want to honor you and love you the way that I can now. And just to be honest.
And how do you feel when he says that?
It's taking it in a slightly different direction, but you asked how we did this, and we had to do our own work individually first. We both grew up, you got married, and you stayed married regardless. And the first thing that I know I had to come to grips with, that I wasn't a horrible person for wanting to have joy in my own life. And we worked really hard individually and together to make it better. And I think the best thing that we could do for each other was realize that we were better human beings apart, and that it's allowed us to be better together, which is kind of an oxymoron, but we're way better apart. For me, it started when I forgave myself for not being able to be married to you, and you being compassionate enough to us agreeing to let each other go in that way.
The people that are watching this story, do you want to say anything specific to them that feels important to help honor this kind of conflict if they're having it?
For me, it's reminding yourself that in the end, there's a reason you were in a relationship with the other person. And if you can hold on to that feeling of, I really care about them. And I know I'm hurt and they're hurt. And if we stay together, it just perpetuates a cycle. To learn to let the other person go so that they can live their full life and you can live your full life.
And for you?
I just keep thinking about what you said about the divine and this moment, and thinking about how long it's taken for me to give myself grace and to give you grace, and that I hope that other people are able to find it sooner. You telling us that this is a divine moment was very, very touching, and it feels like a new starting point.
Yeah. I've never seen the both of you cry together this way. I've never seen you be soft and open and unguarded in the way that you are, and so available for what's to come. So I just want to thank you for that. I really do think that this is one of those moments that it's like a privilege to witness.
I'm glad I'm here. Glad I'm here with you. And that we get to let people know it can be okay.
That was a very profound moment. And what I'd like to do is just spend time together to deepen what we just witnessed. What came up for you all in that process?
I had a question about when you said you wanted to help him deepen it, the intuition of knowing he was talking about himself. How did you realize that? And when?
So remember when I was saying to you all that the power of this work is to be present and to be with the people. So first step of that is I know the people that I work with really, really well, and I understand where their defenses are. And this particular person is comfortable speaking in generalities. It's easier, right, for us to say, I love this group. Very different to say, I love Kathy, and here are the reasons why. And so what he was trying to say in that moment just needed a little guidance around helping him be more vulnerable with her, because that's still scary for him. And that's still really unbelievable for her. What he said to her is probably something she's wanted to hear for a really long time. You almost start to feel crazy if you have these experiences, like someone is angry and then they're telling you they're not, and you don't really know what to make of that. And so intuitively, I knew that he wanted that to be a moment where he shared with her things that he regretted, things that he couldn't share certainly when they were in the marriage, but I could feel it, that that's how it was going to come for him. And it just needed a little guidance, and it changed the trajectory of their conversation. And what did you notice about that shift when we made it?
You could tell there was a lot that he wanted to get out,
Yeah.
and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was heartfelt. He was unburdening himself
Hmm.
in a way that he couldn't do before, I think.
Yeah. For you to really allow yourself to be that vulnerable with someone else, it just means that you can't have a defense. They could have really hurt each other in that moment. And instead, they were so tender and so careful with each other. The way that they managed their divorce process was unusual and really, really beautiful. But instead of talking about it, we got to see it. I know that it was a little bit of a shift from what was planned, religion and sexuality specific, but because I wanted this topic to move into what I believe sexuality can be, is a form of transcendence. When I say divine, that's what I mean, is it's a kind of a form of transcendence, something that was maybe in some ways described as ordinary or beautiful, but it moves into an entirely different plane. And that transcendence is what I think that they embodied today. And I'm just really happy that you all, one, got to witness that, but it lets us be very fluid and open to what is versus what we thought. And I think that's really beautiful because that's what discovery is. It's not what you expected it to be. That's probably not how you expected today to end, right? And yet here we are. It'd be nice to know how it's leaving you. What is felt as that shift happened?
The importance of forgiving yourself for whatever it is that you're holding on to, how you've hurt other people or how they've hurt you, just the power of forgiveness.
I was realizing how prescriptive a lot of our structures are, religion, the nuclear family, and to just see two people love each other so deeply in a non-traditional union, I guess, at that point. It was beautiful. It made me think of a lot of the families that I grew up with that were non-traditional that way and that could show love in ways that weren't as prescribed, I guess.
I'd say what we saw on display was their brokenness that drove them apart, but that same brokenness that was on display today really brought them together into a beautiful place.
I was struck with the idea that the healing that goes on by surrendering.
Yeah.
And you've often talked to me about surrender to your emotions. People like me who live in my head all the time can't give in to that. And then watching it actually happen is pretty amazing to see. And I think that inspires me to want to do that myself and move forward.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right.
Thank you for joining us on this powerful journey through loss, healing, and sexual identity on the Sex Matters.
We hope this episode has inspired you to reflect on the sacred aspects of sexuality and relationships in your own life.
Remember, integrating our spiritual values with healthy sexual exploration can lead to greater authenticity, self-awareness, and intimacy.
Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious about your own journey of growth and healing. This is Dr. Twee,
And I'm Jenna Stewart.
signing off. What felt divine to you today?
I think the most divine moment for me was watching the couple being able to communicate so intimately and openly and not be romantically together. Feels like there had to have been some divine input there to guide them to be able to communicate in that way. It was just incredible to watch.
I think every time that I got the chance to feel connected to the spirits and the souls of my biological family and my chosen family, all the people who love me, anytime that happened in this sacred space felt divine.
Not being judged, coming in and feeling as if I could put all my armor down and the shell that I always put around myself, and to really witness what other people were going through and to let it affect me instead of trying to overthink it.
The unexpected, the unplanned, it's when you think something else is supposed to happen, that's when the divine comes in.